May I have your name?
Amy.
Amy. So I think, Amy, you are Christian, you said?
Yes.
How long you been Christian?
I've been a Christian since 1984.
Okay, I think you're ahead of me. By the way.
I was 8 years old when I became a Christian.
Since you were a kid, and you are serving for kids ministry.
Yeah, I'm a Cottonwood Church's kids ministry. I also am a part of the Cottonwood Church.
Cottonwood Church. Okay, I've been there.
And I'm also part of their production team. I work in the sound booth.
Oh yeah?
Yeah.
Oh, by the way, so have you tried any other religions before, or just the Christianity?
I grew up Christian. I stayed Christian.
Yeah.
It's been the solution. Christianity is not just a crutch. It is a solution. I mean, God is there for you no matter what you're going through.
Yeah.
You can
He's
be going
the
through,
answer, yeah.
Yeah, you can be going through the most difficult time of your life, and He's there. He'll support you.
Right.
Or you could also be going through a great time, and He's also there. He's your friend. He's your confidant.
So you never left the Lord? Just a little vacation? Like I've seen many people out there.
I've had some times where I didn't attend church.
Yeah.
But I never left the Lord.
Right. So what do you think it is? Some Christians, they take a break, like a kind of long time, like several years.
I think part of it might be that they get burned out.
Right. Like what kind of cases?
Oh, like when I didn't attend church for a while, I was partly because I had just moved to the area and had gotten too busy with my work.
Right.
It was hard for me to get into a new church.
How long was it?
A couple of years I didn't attend church.
Yeah, and what made you to go back, which is good?
Partly because I moved back here back in March.
Right.
And I've gotten back into the church I was in before. So I've learned from before that if I don't jump in with both feet, it's hard for me to get back in.
Right. So do you see anybody else who you know or you relate with around you who are away from church, who used to go to church but not anymore? And what are their issues?
I think part of it is the fact that, like my brother, and I don't want to say his name because I don't.
Your brother?
Yeah, my brother.
Your family.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He used to be really involved with the youth group and everything.
You mean
dedicated? When he got into the army, he lost some of it.
Yeah.
I think he got in with some of the wrong crowd.
So there was temptation in the military.
Yes, temptation in the military. He got in with drugs and alcohol and smoking and.
So how long you been away from church or God?
How long has he been away? I'm not sure what his standing is right now, but he.
Less than 5 years?
No, like 5 to 10.
5 to 10. Oh, that's a long time.
Yeah.
So
he might be coming back. He lives in Portland now.
Yeah. So what do you think he feels about God and life after death now? Many people lose the faith when they are away from church, you know.
Right, but I think he still has a little bit of that connection there. It's just he's gotten a bit more worldly in the meantime.
Yeah.
What happened? They wrecked it over here.
So, do you preach gospel, Amy?
My profession won't allow me to do it, but
okay.
I believe in living it out through my life.
Yeah, limitations in this world. The devil is in this world, right? He doesn't want us to go furthermore with Jesus. But you can still do that after work, It's up to us. Because it's easy to compromise, living in this world.
Right.
That's the way I think our faith gets, loosened up. You know what I'm saying? So, how do you work with the Lord in your faith usually to stay, fired up?
Well,
that's our issue, right? That's very important for believers. You cannot be in between. You cannot be lukewarm.
Right. I try to stay in my word every day.
Good.
There's a Bible app. I have an Android phone and tablet. It's called YouVersion.
Yeah.
And I use the YouVersion app, and they have plans, Bible reading plans in there. They also have a new feature though that they call streaking. So it tracks how many days in a row you've been in the app.
Right. Then, it's very convenient that way.
Yeah.
And I think it's good some ways, but it's not that good some ways because, I think most of us, we always have a cell phone in our hands all the time.
Right.
Kids or adults. And then we seem like addicted to it, It seems like we cannot live without it. And then that's the way we are furthermore from the Bible. And then there are some different translation of Bible. We don't know which one is the right one, which one is not.
But realize even people that think the 1611 version of the King James Bible, they think that's the authoritative version. But even still, that was common language at that time.
Do you read the King James version?
I actually read several different versions.
Because I've heard it's kind of difficult to read, and
Well, because it was written for Old English.
Yeah.
Now there's a lot more versions that are more common English, that are today's English.
Yeah, that's a good reason people, to try to change it, to make it easy for us to read, to understand. But
if you go back far enough, I mean, you can go back to the original Hebrew, the original Greek, the original Aramaic, and figure out what they were intending to say.
I use NIV anyways.
Yeah,
I use
NIV is one of those translations
easier,
I use.
Yeah.
I use New King James. We use New King James a lot at church.
Mm-hmm.
I read New Living. I read the Common English version a lot.
Yeah, you guys read other ones, yeah. And then there's some new ones that we don't know.
There's a lot of new ones out there.
So we have to really watch out, though. We can't just pick.
But that's when you do a compare or a parallel.
By the way, I have several different kinds of Bible with me. So I think one of them was an old version, like a King James version, Korean version,
Right.
So they have been changed in those years. And then one day I was in one of the American churches in Texas. And then I was really shocked because I don't quite remember what he was reading. I think it was King James version too. The pastor there who passed away. He was reading some verse for the day, for the preaching for the day, and I was looking at my Bible, and then I was shocked, and that particular verse he was talking about was missing on my Bible, and I was kind of like, wow, what happened, something like that.
Yeah. Some of the things have happened in the Greek and Hebrew translation into English that there's a verse or two that sometimes drops out, but there's usually a subnote that says that some translations will have this verse.
Okay, so this issue is very important, and many people, the non-believers, they cannot trust the Bible, and that's what the devil's trick, you know? So, how do you approach the people when you preach the gospel? Like, people are gonna ask you questions, tough questions like this. How do you know that God is real, or the Bible is real? This Bible is written by man, or stuff like that.
Right, but if you consider that it was written over time, but there's very few inconsistencies. There may have been 40 people. I believe they're saying 40 people wrote the Bible over many
Really? 40?
Years.
Wow, you are more knowledgeable than me. By the way, so I believe Holy Spirit can help us to answer those questions when we depend on Him. By the way, I want us to go back to the situation, because many people out there who used to be Christians, who used to be in the church, but not anymore. Many ways, many reasons. So, what do you think their issues are? What do you think? What makes people to be away from church? Like you told me about your brother's case,
Right.
Yeah.
And part of it was mine. I moved to a new area, was starting a new job, and was trying to use as much time as I could to either relax or to focus on my job. And
a lot of distractions from the world, right?
It was a lot of distraction, yeah.
A lot to do with job situations, correct? Yeah, it seems like too much for believers to follow, to be part of the Word, and then to be part of God, which is we have to follow the command, right?
Right.
Our job with the Lord. So, I think it's a very sensitive issue, but to be honest with me, okay, this is for helping others, okay, helping our fellow Christians.
Right.
Many Christians, they struggle between to witness the Lord,
right,
Jesus, and then to be a part of this word, to be success.
Right.
So, did you ever experience that? Like sometimes you have to choose from one of those, right? But then you kind of like feel that, you know, you feel weak, so you go with your interest in the word,
right,
you know, over God's interest for your life and His command for you.
Well, that's when God gives us free will, but we have to continually go back to Him and find His will for us.
Yeah. What are the things that you struggled with, like in a situation like that?
Sometimes knowing, like when I moved for a couple of those jobs, knowing whether it was the right time for me to move and take those jobs, or if He wanted me elsewhere.
Yeah. So yeah, that's a good point. So the job situations, like some jobs are not really friendly with Christian lifestyle. Right. Like you have to take off on Sundays so we can go to church. Today is Sunday, so we can worship Him and have a fellowship with other Christians, right? And then rest. But some jobs don't allow people to do that. And you don't have many job opportunities, then it's a big temptations.
Right.
So yeah, that's a really common struggle for believers or people out there who wants to believe in God, but then it blocked them to, go to church or to start to get to know Jesus because their, job situation will, prevent them, right?
Partially.
Yeah.
Many churches now are having multiple services, and not just on Sundays now. They can do Saturday and Sunday, or you can even stream it online. My church has a live stream that they do, and it goes internationally every weekend.
Are you talking about some churches? They offer services on Saturdays.
Yeah, we have a Saturday service. We
so
have
you think that that's because the people cannot come on Sundays?
Yes, partially.
Because of their jobs?
Yeah.
Yeah, I know there's some churches doing that. I've noticed that from mostly American churches in here.
Right.
Last several years. This is not for a long time. This has been recent, I think.
My church has been having it on Saturday and Sunday for many years.
Yeah?
Yeah.
But do you think it's a really, really biblical though? Because it's like, in inner ways, okay? Inner ways, the church is trying to help these people who cannot come to church on Sundays. It's better to let them go to church on different days than they just kind of like keep up on their faith in the Lord. But then at the same time, maybe we are putting God into the box, like, hey God, this is what's happening, so we're gonna make some change and you follow us. You just allow us the way we are serving you. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
And then some of us still go for work on Sundays. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So it's kind of like how much we allow, how much we kind of like bend our our situations over His command.
Right.
Because I think many people out there, I think it's okay to believe and then obey His word selectively. Depends on our situations.
Right, but
that's what it is. It's up to our situations for work. So we are kind of like stretching it out, and then we want God accepted, and something. I'm not sure. I'm not kind of legally, approaching here. Okay, I'm not that.
Okay.
Because we are under grace.
Right.
But still, it's kind of like what I know is we have to go by the word, the original. The way it is.
Right.
Because the devil is very sly and
he likes to twist
it, yeah. That's the right word to say.
He likes to twist it.
That's good.
That's where wicked comes from.
Very
wicked
convinced us. Yeah, he convinced us, brainwashing us. And then we kind of like, especially when you are facing this temptation, like, if I don't get this job, I can be in big trouble. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Then you can easily to listen to this temptation, like, oh yeah, I'm going to church anyways. Like for example, some people who goes to church on Sundays, some jobs helping them somewhat, but not really let them devote it to God. like this. They let them come a little late on Sundays, and then, so some churches offer them very early service. So they go to church in the morning on Sundays, about an hour and a half, and then they go to their job, spend the rest of the days on Sundays. And so they say, I went to church anyways, I worship Him, and I'm still making money here. But they spend more hours there. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
So is this acceptable to God? So we have to be careful on this. So I think it depends on, okay, we will see clearly when we get to Him one day. He will tell us. But we don't want to be shocked later on, like, oh, God, I thought this is okay with you. You know? Something like that. We don't want that to happen.
That's why we spend the time to seek Him.
Yeah. So I think before we go for compromising, you know, or we assume that He will accept any ways we, you know, give Him, we have to really, really seek Him and humbly, God, if this is not the way, please give me the faith to obey
and
to
the wisdom.
You. Yeah, and instead of going with my own understanding. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
So are you willing? Are you willing to sacrifice yourself to follow Him, even if you may lose your benefit?
Very much so.
You know.
Very much so.
So you're serious with Him?
Oh yeah.
Yeah. What makes you to? Because there are many people who go to church still. You know, I think that they have so many freedom. You know what I'm saying? And they I think it's a misunderstanding mostly because under the grace, they are too focused on it. So they think because under the grace, you know, God will take anything. He will, you know, accept me, you know, even if I do something wrong.
Right, but
or understanding God, stuff like that. He could, yeah. What do you say?
Once you've accepted Christ, He'll accept you, but that doesn't necessarily mean you're going to be free of any consequences of any mistakes you make afterwards. You still have to repent for any mistakes you make afterwards.
So Christians can commit sins, right?
They can commit sins, but they still are not free from the consequences of those sins.
Right? So Amy, do you think as a Christian who go to church, who follow Jesus, but still living in this world that has temptations around, commit some sins, okay?
Right.
It could be stealing or hatred, that's a sin too, right?
Right.
It's a murder. Or adultery, whatever. So this person is under the grace of God through Jesus. So his sin is less serious than the same sins from the non-believers. Do you think so?
Well, the difference between non-believers and believers is the fact non-believers have not accepted.
The same sins they committed.
Right, it may be the same sins, but the non-believers have not accepted Jesus as the payment for their sins.
So when it comes about, what I'm saying is the same sins.
Right.
You think that God's gonna treat them differently?
I think what's going to happen is if you're not a believer, you don't have Jesus to.
They don't have any chance to be forgiven.
Well,
unless they come
it's not
to
that
Jesus.
they don't have a chance to be forgiven. They're given opportunities here while they're on earth to come to know Jesus. But if they refuse that opportunity to get to know Jesus, then they're ultimately responsible because Jesus was our payment for the debt that we owed.
I'm not talking about the salvation issue here. Of course, anybody, whoever, all the sinners, we are all sinners. We started, you and I was used to be sinners,
right.
Okay? But we came to Jesus, so we got, forgiven, right? But we still can sin. My point here is like, okay, non-believers out there who has nothing to do with the Lord, nothing to do with God, they still sin, but they don't admit that they are sinning. But there's a payment for that if they don't come to Christ and to be forgiven.
Right.
Right? That's our job. We have to tell them that.
Yes, our job is to tell them.
But I'm talking about the believers like you and I who are already with Jesus.
Right.
We can commit sins too.
Yes, we can commit
try not
sins,
to, but
we can commit sins which will cause us to lose a closeness in our relationship with Jesus.
I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about we. We commit sins. Okay,
right.
Sometimes, like you can hate someone, you eat whatever. So those sins can be when it comes about the punishment. Okay, God has to punish sins. Okay, but we have a chance to be forgiven.
Right.
But when we don't, when we keep doing that, I think some Christians doing that, like the drug issue or sexual issue, whatever, something hidden. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
So those kind of sins, okay, we don't feel like we want to give it to the Lord. If we do that, we can be free from it. But some of us are very weak. Some of us, we still, enjoy
right.
in it because we are blinded. So in this case, this sin, living in sin, right? You think the non-believers sin and the believers sin,
right?
Are they different weights in God's eyes? That's what I'm saying. Because why I'm saying this, because some believers think, because under the grace of God, when I sin, God still forgive me, and then He understands me.
Okay.
So they're not really taking it seriously.
I'm not saying that there's a different weight. What I'm saying is, we sin. God looks at Jesus. He doesn't. He's looking at Jesus, who's covered us. So even though it's the same weight, but God's already paid for it.
But we have to still confess.
We have
to repent.
We still have to confess, but that doesn't mean we lose our salvation over it.
Yeah, I'm not saying about the losing salvation
right.
here. I'm talking about in daily basis, every day.
Right.
We are living in the same world, the same, sinful world. So the devil is not gonna leave us alone. He kind of tempts us, right?
Right.
So some of us fall, right?
That's why we gotta rely on the Holy Spirit.
Yeah. So what I'm trying to say is kind of like our mindset. I think it's this kind of deception from the devil.
Right.
Many of Christians think this is why one of the reasons why they keep doing it, behind the doors. Okay. They don't see the seriousness of it. They
right.
think because of I am child of God, and then so God can take my sin less
right.
serious than the ones in the world. That is not correct. That's what I'm
right.
trying to say.
Yeah.
So and then actually you mentioned about losing salvation. So were you saying that because of the sins the believers will commit, they are not going to lose salvations because
right.
even though they commit sins?
But what they can lose is their crowns. When we go up to heaven, we're going to be given crowns that we're going to present to the Lord.
Well, this goes deeper, okay? Because we don't want to go with our own understanding, which can be wrong. We want to go by God's understanding because He's a judge, and we have
right.
to go with His law. Okay, then. Because we didn't earn this salvation, right? By our human effort. It's by Jesus, what He has done on the cross.
That's
by faith in Him. Yeah, that's the only way we can be, entering heaven. And at the same time, the Bible says different directions. He says about the salvation many different ways. Like for example, John 3:16.
Right. For God so loved the world that He gave His only begotten Son.
That's
that whosoever believes in Him should not perish but have everlasting life.
That's most believers' favorite. So it seems like a very easy. Like you just need to believe, right?
Mm-hmm.
But then in other verses says like God says that not the older ones who called Him Lord, Lord, Lord will
right.
make it to heaven. He says that the
Matthew.
ones who obey to the word.
Right.
That means, just believing in Him is not good enough. It helps you to go to the right direction.
The first step is believing.
Yeah,
the next step is the follow through.
Yes, it has to go together.
Yeah.
You can't just start the first step and then stay there.
No, you have to keep going.
Like there, over there, stop sign right there. You stop there. You cannot stop there, stay there forever. You have to across it.
Right.
You have to go where you're supposed to go, right?
Right.
And there's just like that. so we can grow in Him.
Right. Because what happens with Christ? You're either going forward, or if you try and stay still, you're actually losing ground because He's going on without you.
Yeah, maybe it's like, most of us, we were born with the sins, right? None of us are, born Christian,
right.
Okay?
Well, we have the sin nature in us.
We were all disconnected from God because of sin we are born with. So we were wandering around in this world, and some of us were going to different directions, like different gods, right? And I think all of us, involved to goodness, okay? Human effort,
right.
Religion or without religion, we are all focused on that. But the thing is, so we were in the wrong places. And then, when a person decides to come to Christ, that's the way. It's like you stand at the stop sign. It's like you stop sinning, you repent, and you come to God. You
right.
stop going to different directions, which is your ways or others' ways in the world, but you're starting to follow God's way, Jesus Christ, right?
Mm-hmm.
So if you come to Christ, you are starting to go to the right direction, the only way to heaven and God. But then you cannot just stop there. You have to keep going.
Because if you stay in that same place, God's going on without you.
Yeah, how you do that? Yeah, it's important. How you have to follow by obeying His word, right?
Right, you obey His word. You obey obey the Holy
Spirit. Obviously, John 3:16.
Yes.
That's kind of like you stay at the stop sign. Mm-hmm. You start to go to the right direction with Jesus. But then, what I just told you about, not everybody. What's the verse again you said? That not everybody's
Matthew.
Gonna go to
Matthew 25.
Yeah, great. Go to heaven, but the ones who obeys to His word will make it to heaven. That means it's a furthermore. It says you have to put your action in there, right?
Right.
So John 3:16 is not all about the salvation here. We need a more explanation, and then He's saying you have to make an action because your necklace. Can I touch it?
Yeah.
Looks like this one looks like a gold medalist, medal, right? If you are Olympian, you're not gonna get the medal unless you
put the work into.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. You have to go for it, and you have to exercise and everything. You have to do everything to reach to it. Just like that. Okay, our goal is through Jesus. God wants us to, be ready for heaven. So that's the goal. You cannot just stay at the stop sign and then think you can get there one day. You have to move that direction.
It's like when you get onto a track.
Yeah.
You have to leave the starting line. You have to make it around the track in order to finish the
race. So doesn't it sound like more work to do? Don't get me wrong, though. It's not meaning you have to put your effort, like it's your human effort. That's what the religion says.
Right, that's religion.
Obedience is different. Like you go with what you believe. That is according to His will, like His way, not your way. Well, religion is you can do that by your own way. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Human way.
Well, Christianity is a lot like you have someone walking hand in hand with you. And it makes it a little bit easier because you have someone to walk with. A lot of times, like there's places I won't go by myself just because I don't like going there by myself.
Yeah.
So, but when I'm there with someone else, it makes it easier to be in there. It doesn't feel so awkward.
Yeah. But what I'm saying is because mainly this is not, I want everybody to listen to it. This is not for just non-believers.
Right.
This is also, I think mainly, this is for everybody because, God wants each one of us to go to heaven. But if you are in the wrong place, you cannot make it. So, so it's very important to listen to what God says in the Bible. And especially this particular, issue, this topic is for Christians, I believe.
Right.
Because many believers can see it really differently. They still kind of like they are with the Lord, but they think that they are following Christ, but then they are not quite there. They're still wandering around in the world. That's what I'm saying. So the thing is, like you and I said, So John 3:16
Right.
is not everything about it. It sounds like we're not just believing in Jesus and then it's gonna make us to go to heaven one day.
Right, that just gets you to the starting gate.
We have to prove that we are with the Lord. So by obedient to His word, which means you might need to take a sacrifice.
Right.
You might need to say no to the temptations, which is gonna come around you day and night. And also, some of the things you might like from the word, you might need to cut it out from you,
right.
which might hurt many people. Some people wouldn't like that.
Some of Jesus' teachings, he talks about pruning.
You know what I'm saying? Oh, you like cigarettes and you like smoking. You like drinking and you like playing around with the girls or boys. But you know what? These are sins and there's a penalty for that.
Right.
Do you want to do that? Something.
That's what I was saying. You don't lose your consequences.
Yeah. It gets kind of like it helps you to be smarter.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
It's training.
Yeah. And the other word says that in the Bible somewhere. Paul said that. I think he said, can tell you the meaning of it, okay? Because I read the Korean and English Bibles.
Right.
And then I'm more familiar with the Korean Bible translation, okay? So it's like he says, he has to force himself to be obedient to his word, or else he can be rejected from the Lord, even if he, bring many people to Christ. Something like that.
Right.
Is it familiar to you?
Yeah, partially.
Yeah. How can it happen? I don't think you and I can beat him to be witnessing. But he done so much, you know what I'm saying? This guy has been very devoted disciple of Christ. But then he was afraid that he might lose his salvation because, he may be rejected from the Lord. You know what I'm saying? So, by the way, and then there's another verse very close to it.
I don't think it's necessarily salvation there. I think what it is, being rejected from the Lord means, well, remember, Jesus himself on the cross was separated from God.
Oh, that was God's plan, though. God's salvation plan for us. He has to die.
But that's when he was actually separated. But what I'm saying,
this is a different case.
When Jesus was separated from God, yes, he was an actual separation. But when Paul's saying separated, he admits that was there, but it was. How am I trying to put this?
I need to ask you something real quick. I don't mean to cut you because I just remember something. Maybe if you answer me this one, it's gonna be a whole lot easier conversation, and then you don't have to just try to explain to me more, just to make it easy for you. Okay. Do you believe, Amy, that once saved, always saved?
Yes.
That's what I'm talking about. So is your church teach that?
Yes.
Okay. I don't agree with that, but let's see. We have to go to get the answer from the word, okay? Right? I'm not gonna say, Amy, I know better than you, or you're wrong. I can't say that. But we can only go to get the answer from the Bible, correct? Because that's the truth from God. Right. So, once saved, always saved. So when you go with that, it's difficult for you to believe, some Christians can be rejected by the Lord, right? So you believe, because you mentioned earlier, that's why I thought you might believe that. It's like, once you're saved, then there's no way you can lose salvation, okay? Let's check it out, okay? I think it's a very important topic because you don't want to be surprised at the end, you know what I'm saying?
Right.
You know that there's a verse that says that, God's gonna divide people to the right and left. Yes.
Yes.
He says to the right hand side people, he says what he calls that
those are the goats.
Good and faithful servants.
Right, the good and faithful
Come on
servants.
in. I recognize you. That's what we need to hear from him, okay?
Right.
This is the final how you call as a medalist, okay?
Right.
Olympians. Even though they put all the effort, okay, all those years, but if they don't get to the final finish line, and then when they don't get the record, am I making sense?
Mm-hmm.
Their effort is not gonna be recognized.
That's where the difference is in the crowns.
Yeah, it's sad.
They'll still be in heaven, but they won't have the crowns to represent to Jesus.
Yeah. So it's very important. At the finish line, we have a judge, God. He's gonna come out and he's gonna tell us whether we are entered or rejected. Okay.
Right.
So this is true. So once saved, always saved. That kind of belief is like no Christians will be rejected. That means the Bible is wrong.
No.
God is a liar.
No,
that's not true, right? The interpretation is wrong here. So God already mentioned several parts of the Bible already. You and I know the parables he's used, like a sheep and goat, and then there's something else, like, you tell me.
There's the lost son, the lost coin.
Yeah, and there's some other things, like it's a grain. I may find the verses later and then put it on there later. But by the way, God said very similar words. Oh yeah, that too. Talent.
Yeah.
Talent. Like some people had 10 of them, or someone had 5 of them, something like that. And then someone has 1 and they buried it and stuff like that. But they all present like a serving God, Christians. But some of them were not good enough to the Lord. They didn't obey to Him, so they were rejected. So the reality is, this is kind of like a Christian's nightmare, that some of us can be rejected by the Lord. That means some salvation can be, some people can lose salvation, I should say. So what we need to do is kind of like
my question is though,
we should hold on a second. We should not to go direction. So we have to be awake and alarmed. That's what God said. Be awake and then watch out. And then you have to be faithful, good servant. Okay. Or else we can be lukewarm, like you said.
Right.
We can be backsliding.
Right.
Lose salvation, stuff like that. You can be in the church and serving the Lord, dedicated. Still, you can be rejected, and you can be, losing salvation if you're not following His way. Because there are some people, they still do everything for the Lord, but then they still, disobeying to God's word because they serve the Lord selectively, like, you know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
So,
but
go ahead.
The question I have though, if you're going to that servant who lost the talent because he didn't use it, he buried it, you have to wonder, was he really the servant in the first place?
What that means is that he used it, or he buried it because
didn't use it.
He didn't use it. That was his judgment. That's his way. He didn't follow God's way. He followed his own way. Can you see the difference here? So Christians, we have to be careful, or else we think that we serve Him. We do everything, even all the ministries. As much as you burn out, but you're still doing it sacrificially. But you do it your way, not God's way. You can be recognized by Him, like, hey, I don't know you guys, because He already said, oh, these people on the left-hand side, people, He says, they said, God, we cast out the demons, we heal the sick, and we did this and that, But God said, I don't know you guys. Depart from me. Can you see that? So it can happen. So He says that obedience is better than sacrifice. Is it telling you anything? That's very important. And then many of us can go to the other direction, like we can be sacrificially serving the Lord. Like wow, it's like bearing it is God's will instead of using it.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? We totally misunderstand Him, and we go to the wrong direction. Even if you are in the church, you still be, separate from Him.
Right.
Your heart and His heart is going different direction. You know what I'm saying? Like you remember this guy, Frederick's son, the younger son and the older son.
Yeah.
This father has, who represent God, good God.
Prodigal son.
Yeah, his older son, this boy's brother. Okay.
Right.
He represents as a believer, right? He never left the Father. He never left
Right.
God. He was serving Him, and then, but he got so mad. You remember?
Yes, he did get mad.
He got mad, and he said, "How, God, how can you do this? And you never, got a what's that? Ask for me, whatever, that I've been serving you. I never left you. But this guy, this younger child, who, stole all your belongings, and you give him everything, and what not me, so I've been doing for nothing stuff. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
That's exactly how some of us can feel. You know what I'm saying? But and I was kind of like I was wondered like why God seemed like celebrating this guy who did everything wrong, and just what he did right was just came back to him. You know what I'm saying? But he got all the reward, and then the guy who never done anything wrong, and then he seemed like left out. You know what I'm saying?
Well, remember what the Father told him at that time. You had all this available to you the whole time.
So what I understand is that this guy who was with the Lord, the older child, he may be serving the Lord, but he never knew who God was, who the Father was. So he was kind of like serving the Lord religious way. He didn't have a real connection with the Father. So this is a different point of view. Many believers, excuse me, many believers might have a relationship with God like that. So they think, as long as I'm in the church, 10 years, 20 years, I've been doing this ministry many years, so I am recognized by the Lord. But God would say, I don't know you. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So that's what we need to focus on. We should focus on what God's interest, and we have to go with it. Billy Graham, he used to be really, really big evangelist, right?
Yeah.
Many people, he brought many people to Christ. That means he saved many people. Of course, we can't tell, all of them were still believers. You know what I'm saying? It's up to each one of them, The thing is, but, so he's kind of considered as a great person in the faith, right?
Mm-hmm.
But recently, recent status of him, because I watched some of the videos of him and interviews on YouTube that made me to concern. Kind of like he was wondering about the salvation, which is a basic thing. He think, because someone asked him, I saw him answering. He was kind of like, I think it's something like this. Someone was asking him, so who can be saved? He was saying Muslims can be saved, or something like that. And anybody can be saved as long as they're good stuff. Wait a minute.
Yeah.
This is not gospel. So, see, what you do for the Lord, even if it's great, work like that, what he did, that was past. And then right now, you are believing something else, and you are teaching people something else, which is not gospel. That you are not working for the Lord, you are not servant of God. So I don't think that God goes with our past. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
He goes with our present.
Right.
So that's the thing. So don't depend on our own, work, career, everything. But we should go with, even if I don't do such a big things for Him, am I right with Him? Is my heart right with Him?
Right.
You know what I'm saying? So let's go back to once saved, always saved. So do you still believe that?
Yes, I do.
Okay, let me go back to this one.
I need to go. I've been standing here way too long, and I need to get home.
Okay, I see. The last one, I want to tell you this. He says something like, the way to heaven is narrow.
Right.
Not many people go there. When you see the churches, big churches, so many people there, you think all of them go to heaven?
No.
So who goes to heaven then?
I gotta go.
Okay. So Amy, don't get me wrong. I hope this is blessing to you too.
I know, it's just I've been standing too long. I've been
Yeah, I know. But then, once saved, always saved is not the way. This is not from God. You know what I'm saying? So please.
I gotta go.
Jesus loves you.